So I got a UN82RU9000F, and all you see is the screen flashes on and off. Okay, it's a Samsung TV. It's been my experience that when it does that, it's usually a bad screen, but I'm gonna show you how to quickly diagnose it and determine what is causing this. Put this camera up here in place. So the first thing I normally do with a Samsung TV is I check and see if the power supply is good. But we know the power supply is good because it flashes on and off. So the only thing it can be is the motherboard, the main board, or the actual panel, because there's no T-con on this TV. So got the main board here, we got the cables going into the panel, we got the power supply. What I normally do is I'll disconnect the wire going to the power supply, like so. But before I do that, let's plug it back up and see the symptoms we got. Okay. Let's get power cord. Also, the back cover on this snaps off. You can check one of my other videos to see how to snap the back cover off. They just snap on and off. So when you plug a Samsung up, it automatically lights up. The LEDs turn on automatically. You can look down through these holes, and as you can see, it lights up, then it tries to get brighter, and it goes out. And that's what you'll see. If I get closer, pay attention to the circles. The power supply just turned on. See the light up, go dim, and then go back out. So you get bright and goes out. Okay, that's a symptom of the main board is telling the power supply to turn on the LEDs, and then and the main board is giving powers to the other area, and someone is sending a signal back saying, no, there's something wrong, cut the TV back off. And it'll keep cycling like that. So normally I'll disconnect this. You can also have bad LEDs. So to determine whether the LEDs are bad, because the LEDs are bad, the power supply send a signal back to the main board and say, hey, no, the LEDs told me we're bad. Turn off and save the people's house. So you see, as soon as I disconnect the cable going into the power supply and plug back up the TV, you know, the TV's nice and bright. Look at the LEDs. So the LEDs are functioning fine. See all the little holes? It's full of light. Okay? So with that done and said, moving right along. Probably if I connect the cable back, the LED's gonna shut off. Look at that. See, it shuts off, and then it'll go back to flashing. First time I heard some sound. All right, so now I disconnect this here. I disconnect the cables from the main board side, not from the panel side. If you disconnect at the panel side, that means it's going to be voltage and the signals going down there. If they touch anything here, you're done. You short out the whole main board. So you disconnect it from this side. I'm just cut to the chase and disconnect both. And in my previous videos, I use painter's tape to cover up that signal. But normally, even after I do that, the quality is not as good. And this guy that brought this TV in, he knows what picture quality is, and he's not going to set anything less. So I am not going to do the tape trick on this TV. If it turns out to be the screen, just going to let him know. So far, the TV turned on with the LVDS cables disconnected. So that lets me know I have a panel issue, and it's not likely a motherboard issue, main board issue. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna connect one of the sides, and I'm gonna just narrow down what side it is. It's normally the right side, so I'm gonna connect this back and see what happens. TV went back off, so it's not that side. Wait a minute. Nope, the TV came on. So it's this side. It's this side that's sending the kill signal. So with that done and said, let me see if this thing has volume. I see that our LED is responding to the remote, so that's a good sign. All right. I like to test for some voltages, just for entertainment purposes. I'm going to test and see if the voltages are present going into the panel. That normally will go into the panel. There's some capacitors, small capacitors right here near where the cables plug in. On a good panel, you'll read voltages there. Right now I'm not reading any. And what happens is if you got a bad panel, it can mess up this part of the circuit also. But I'm getting nothing on none of those. All right, so let's unplug that. And I am going to tape half of this just out of curiosity. I'm going to do the tape thing and see what happens here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one half and plug it in. If it stays on, then I narrow down the traces that I need to cut out. So I'm going to use about half of this length, and I'm going to cut tape about half that length. I use this Kilty knife because it's sharp and I get a nice clean cut. I normally use a pair of tweezers to get it on there, but I'm gonna do it. Let's see, I pulled it off. That's the flat side. So I'm gonna do the first half. Cover it with tape. So I'm doing the top side right now, half of it. I believe you probably can see. If not, let me zoom this camera down some to that area. Get a little closer here for you. That's as close as I can get. Okay, so I can show you. You can see I put blue tape on half of the ribbon cable. I'm going to put it back in. If the TV stays on, I narrow down which side is the issue. You heard that? We got sound and everything. So, normally I'll lift the TV up and see what the picture like, but I got over half of the ribbon tape cable covered, so it's not going to make it. You're not going to have a picture, no way. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna split that tape in half. Who knows, I may get a picture on this TV. Please give me a second. Hello, Mobile Techie. Yes, sir. Oh boy, they waste our time and our money, those robocalls. All right, so I'm gonna split the tape right down the middle. And I'm cutting it on the ribbon cable, but I'm going light enough where I'm not cutting the actual ribbon cable. So I've done this a couple times, so I know how light or how heavy to do this. You might, if you try to copy me, you might want to just go ahead and pull the tape off and then cut it in half. Normally I use a pair of tweezers, so let me get my tweezers. Okay. Pair of tweezers. Try to peel that off. And see, I got exactly half. I'm gonna save that in case I need to put that piece back and take the other side off. So we're on the end still. Plug this up, power it on. It stayed on. So at this point in time, I would like to see what the actual screen looked like. So I'm gonna lift the TV up and look at the screen. And then I know it's not going to be a good picture, but I want to see what's actually there. Then I will cut that tape, the leftover tape, in half even more to narrow down the section that will make this TV stay on. I've been able to fix a couple of TVs, and a couple of them wasn't able to, just by doing this routine. So let's stand it up. I like to lay it on the floor on the blanket, that way I can flex it. If you see, the screen is completely empty, there's nothing on the screen, but the TV is staying on. Normally when that happens, it's not a good sign. That means the panel is completely bad, no matter how much you cover. It's just I am covering up the signal, the kill signal going back, telling it to shut off. All right. So let's disconnect that. Let's go in here. And what did I do with my knife? Knife. Don't want to need that piece of tape anymore, but I'll save it anyway. All right, so I'm gonna cut it in half again, but I'm gonna leave the center section this time instead of the end section, because I believe that'll give me a picture if I'm gonna get one. If we had access to the circuit diagrams for this TV, the panel diagrams, I would go right to the area that sends the signal and just block that. But being that I don't have circuit diagrams for this particular TV, I just do it the way I'm doing it. Narrow it down, process elimination. Okay. Okay, so I got that much off, and I hope you can see. Let me stand up and look and see if it's still in the right area. As you can see, I'm getting a little exercise getting up and down, but I have that section covered. That's around pin 9 through 14 or something like that. Let's plug it up. If pin 1 was on that end. Uh-oh, got complete sound, you hear that? So I've narrowed down from a half to a half and now a quarter. And apparently I left the right side connected, so we're lucky, we may have a picture. But in fact, I'm getting sound, and also, not only am I getting sound, if I check inside the the optical light, if that's on the main board, 90% of the time there's nothing wrong with the main board. When you have a bad main board, the optical sensor won't turn on 90% of the time. So let's lift this guy up. And look, I got a picture. See that? I got a picture. But it has plenty of lines in it, horizontal and vertical. But that proves my point that it's not the actual main board, it's the actual screen that's bad. Okay. All right. So maybe we can still get a picture if I narrow it down some more. If not, I am going to probably leave the tape on like that in case the customer don't believe me. Some people just don't believe you. They're amazed. So anyway, I don't want it to be a bad screen, because if it's a bad screen, I can't get a replacement screen. All right, they're doing construction next door. They're actually doing construction next door. Okay, so let's unplug this. And let's cut this in half. Cut that in half. I guess I picked the wrong time to make a video, huh? Cut that in half, but I didn't cut it completely in half, but that's enough. Let's see. I took off that much, so I'm gonna lay it there, so if I have to put it back, I can. And then I'll take off the other side. Let's see what happens. Well, there's sound again. Nope, the TV is off. See that? It cut off. So that part I took off is the part that's needed. Shut off again. So let's put that back. Let's put that back. That's why I leave it stuck to the I leave it stuck to the tweezer so I can put it right back where it came from. And lay it right back down beside the other tape. Then I'm gonna remove the other tape that I cut, and if it don't come on, then I know that section needs to be covered, but I need to slide the other one over some to relieve some of those lines that's to the left of it. Maybe that'll get rid of those horizontal lines in the picture. Uh-oh, I meant to take that one off. Let's take this side off now. Let's take that side off. So I've got approximately 4 lines, if I'm lucky, covered. Hopefully that does it. Nope. Yep, it's staying on. Let's see. It stayed on. Nope, it went out. God dog it. Okay. So with that done and said, I'm in the right area. I'm gonna mark it with a marker now, because that whole area that I had covered may need to be covered just for it to even show anything. I'm gonna mark the area, and then I'm gonna slide that piece of tape to, I'm gonna put the other bigger piece back on and cover up everything. So I'm gonna mark here and here, and then I'll put the other tape back on. And then I'm gonna do some shifting, just a little shifting, because I'm basically trying to get a picture, a better picture. We already got TV to stay on, now we're just trying to get a better picture. So all of that had to be covered in order for us to give us those 3 lines. All of those had to be covered. So I'm gonna draw a mark on the outside of there. So now I'm gonna take this tape back off the first half. That right there, and I'm gonna slide this one over to the center of my lines that I drew. And I put it somewhere in the center. So I had one mark, two marks, and one in the middle where I had split them. And now I'm trying to shift it just enough where maybe I'm covering the exact lines now, because it's somewhere down the middle. If not, either way, TV's not repairable at this point. That was a good sound. What do we have here? So remember, I had one little piece left. I split that in half. I took one side off and the TV wouldn't stay on. I put that side back on and took the other side off and the TV wouldn't stay on. So I drew a line right down the middle where I made the split and one on each side of the split. And then I took one piece of tape off and then I shifted the other to the center dot of that. And so it's hard to really explain, but you gotta picture it. Basically, I'm just trying to find that sweet spot now. Let's see what kind of picture I got. I cantilever the TV up. I just gonna grab it and lift it. But that's the best we're gonna do, right there. That's the best we're gonna do. And I'm covering a certain amount of lines. I'm gonna take a picture of where I'm covering. But that's why the TV is not working. It has a bad screen. And there's nothing we can do about that. Oh. And I would take it further than that, but this customer, we talked about picture quality and all that yesterday. And he's not going to accept, you know, even after you fix this on some of these TVs, the red or the blue, most times it's the red that's missing. Most times. I mean, I got a magnifying app on here. I'm a magnifying so I can pinpoint what lines we covered. If I can get the focus. Let me try it again. Let me set it down. Maybe I gotta be still. There we go. Okay. So let me bring this up to the camera. Maybe this will help describe what I did. Oh, I better save that also, because once it blinks out, it's going to be gone. Let me save it first. Let me save that picture. Okay, picture saved. Okay, so that's what the lines I covered. And you can see the tape that made the TV stay on went from this black outer mark to that black outer mark. So that's where I split that tape at, right down the middle. So now I took off one side, the TV didn't stay on. If I took off the other side, the TV didn't stay on. So what I did, I took off that side, and this side, see how it matches the length of that? And all I did was slide it over a couple, and the TV stays on. So having those couple of lines covered right there makes the TV stay on, but the picture is still garbage. So, and if you want, you can count over, but it really doesn't matter unless you just want to go right to it. And you know, it was the top cable, and who knows, your TV may have a picture. You know, once again, I do a lot of these. Some of them get a decent picture, some of them never get a decent picture, some of them don't even show a picture at all. But there you have it. That's a quick and dirty way to settle your mind and determine whether it's time to just go buy a new TV or not. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and God bless you.